Perhaps he doesn't like you, Matthew.
Perhaps so. Yeah, don't like ladies.
This looks familiar. I had a test drive in this lovely little car, and it's all been cleaned up with new wings on it and new wheels and a new boot. That's it. What a lovely motor this is. I'm going to need a bit more than just a glimpse of Yardcat and a brief walk around Matthew's car there for today's video. And seeing it drive away like that as well, it is, when I see these R8s, I just think, it's such a nice car. And it's making me think about next month a bit more now. Taxing cars on direct debit. So, obviously, Nigel has to remain taxed. It's going to shows next month. It's going to be used. Transit face, that has to remain taxed because I need the vehicle for doing Nigel things. Alfie will be taking a month off at least, so that's going on Sawn at the end of the month. And that's happening so that Brian Johnson here can be taxed, so I can make sure it's a good car. But it is a good car, so I don't really need to tax that to find out, but I will be doing anyway, just to make 100% sure. And by the way, it is Brian Johnson, not Johnston. Okay, I think Brian Johnston is a cricket player, whereas Brian Johnson is a little Geordie man with a cap and a very shouty voice. By the way, AC/DC was not a band I ever got into. I just wanted somebody famous with initials BJ. It could be a recurring theme, this actually, the first two letters of the number plates, if indeed they're after 2001, as being this. And we're too late for Nigel. Nigel, of course, begins with an N and then a C. That's convenient. I've not considered that before. Who's famous called Nigel? Nigel C. I'm going to find that out. Anyway, back to the car tax point. Obviously, Nigel's the show car. Brian's going to be the everyday car, and Transit Face is the work car. So it might be a bit rash of me to consider retaxing Max as well, just because I like the booted R8. But let's consider something here. This car definitely needs pulling back out of here so it can be cleaned again, because all this stuff on here is going to start eating into the paint. And because the paint's not particularly good, it will do it quite quickly. So no doubt I'll have to take this up, wash it, and then give it a bit of a buffing to get some of these stains out. A little while back I went into Halfords for something and I saw these drying towels, and I moaned about how expensive they were. But since then, having spoken to Peter, owner of Project Dan, he said they're worth it because of how good they are. And so I think, well, £15 for a drying towel. What else can I buy with £15? And how else can I have this car, Alfie, actually look as it should do? Because whenever I try and dry it, ends up with streaks everywhere, and I don't want to touch the paint because it scratches so easily. So that might just be the only solution. And if it's as good as Peter says, then it will be expensive but also good value at the same time. Yeah, I've made my mind up, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Oh gosh, what am I doing? I'm so busy humming away one of my theme tunes that I completely missed the turning. That Ladies First tune is very, very distracting. Where did I get £15 from? It wasn't £15. It was £27.99 from Maguire's drying towel. But then I had a little look along, and there was another one for, I think, £16. And then I spotted Halford Zone, so that was just over £12, so that'll do. And with the extra money, I got one of those massive buckets. More water, less dirt. You look at Alfie, and what you see in this picture right now is a superb, mint looking car. But then of course, you get closer and you see that a cat's been walking on the bonnet. And the marks are starting to show. And you go onto the roof and you can see bits of dirt the closer you look. And that's exactly what I want to get rid of. A way of getting rid of this without scratching the paint. And this is why I bought myself a 20-litre bucket. More water, less dirt. And it makes me look like a robot. Well, I'm actually very impressed. I've just given the whole car a quick rinse over because it definitely wasn't dirty from yesterday. Dried it off with the towel and it doesn't even feel damp. Actually it does, it feels ever so slightly damp. But that's amazing. That's really cool because the other one I was using, you basically just smear the water around it and really picking it up. So I'm very impressed by that. Now, before I get on with any more work today, if you can call it that, it's time for a sandwich. And of recent, my little girls have been making me sandwiches, which is great. They insist on doing it. So these are the sandwiches made by 8-year-olds. Sandwich review. What's going on over here then? Cheeky little things. Go to keep my big white bucket inside to stop it from getting too dirty. Just looking at that bucket then I realised something. Around the back I've got a 40-pint brewing bucket. And I'm never going to use it because I left it out the back there and I don't really fancy brewing some beer in something that's been left outside for so long. 40 pints is more than 20 litres. Why didn't I just use that? Perhaps I will now. It's time for me to do some car shifting because Max does need all that stuff cleaning off of it. Maybe I don't need to bring it up here and try and do a super duper special job of it, but the only trouble is what I've done here is I've bunged it right down at the corner because basically these cars can move, and so I'm making use of that fact. Doesn't stop it from being a bit inconvenient though when I want to pull a car out, because that means to move one car I've got to move 3. So Nigel can go back, that's going to go up there around the back of here. Boaty's boat is just going to stay there for a couple of days. Anyone would think that I like shuffling cars around. Yes, that's exceedingly full of stuff. But before I clean this, I've got another thought on the go. Just what if the most obvious thing you could think of is the one thing I have missed on this car? Yeah, the ignition leads. Because I haven't changed them. They look fairly new to me, but I also know they're not the correct ones. They're off a single cam. So maybe they've been on there a lot longer than they look. Is it worthwhile swapping them over? Yes, it is. Just swap the leads from this to that. And I may as well just go and start that up. But instead, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Because yet again, I think it's one of those things where I'm just basically wasting my time trying to mend it. And the actual problem could be something much more serious. But I don't know, do I? It has occurred to me that maybe it's low on compression or something, or these cylinders are mixing with each other just like Nigel was doing. So it starts and runs, but depending on the temperature of the engine, depends on how well it runs. Well, I don't think that's worked somehow. It's almost like a... oh, what's that? I think the battery might be a bit flat. Yes, it is. Well, that didn't work. But maybe one of the reasons it didn't work is because I forgot what order to put the leads in. I've just been struggling with Max to get that running. I just put those back in and that didn't work either. So I finally figured it out. I used the internet to get some information that was incorrect, and then just by trial and error I eventually got to the right thing it should be. Right, this time definitely in the right order, definitely good leads. What will happen? That. Still not good. And it's always the same thing. Every time I get into this car to try and do something, I make it worse. Now, you see that Audi in front there? I've just let that Audi out. That's owned by a chap whom I know, and you may not find this very exciting, but I'm going to do a test drive in that very car because of a particular thing that makes it just a bit interesting. So that will be coming up in the next few weeks probably. Actually, there's a few potential test drives coming up. The chap who has that Audi, I test drove his BMW Z4, which I quite liked, but a few of my subscribers probably got upset with me for daring to climb inside a BMW. But as it goes, he's got another one. He's got a twin turbo Z4, and I was just chatting to him then, and he said it's absolutely rapid, which I can imagine, and I'll probably have a go at that as well. Plus also there's a E36 M3 I've been promised a test drive in. Again, you know, not really for the Rover crowd, but it's a car and I love driving cars, and a Mini Cooper S works. I would be very, very happy to test drive all of these over the next few weeks and whatever else comes up. I love doing test drives. Simple as that. They're a lot less infuriating than trying to fix cars. As usual, my day's gone from one thing to another, just swinging left to right constantly and really giving me not a great sense, or you in this video, a great sense of direction. I wonder if I will ever get to the bottom of the problem with Project Marjorie. It's just so weird. Taking those leads off and putting them back on again. I have put them on in the correct order, and I've checked they're all plugged in properly. There should be nothing wrong there at all. I've checked they're in the right order, and then I've checked that they're in the correct order, and then I've checked that they are in the order that they should be in, and every time they are correct. But for some reason it just doesn't really want to work at all now. So I'll have to just disconnect the battery and try and reset it or something. Oh, what a car. I just really want it to work. I like it. I like it more if it worked. Maybe that's the trick to liking a car, actually. Make sure it doesn't work properly. Then you're always inspired by it. Inspired to fix it. Inspired to fix it further. Inspired to get it on the road. And then once you've got it on the road, the boredom can then set in naturally. Yes. And that gives me another thought here. Alfie's been my daily car now for over a month, because I wanted to drive this one again instead of the custom missile. and then the following month as well. And next month the plan is to drive Brian, the silver Rover 25. And I'm concerned that I'll be okay for a couple of weeks and then I'll be bored with it and want to come back in this. Presidents only. Rightio, back to work. This car looks so much nicer for being properly dried. There's no streaky bits anywhere. It's fantastic. What a lovely car. Dirty stains. Will they come clean? Or will they be there forever? They're terrible, these stains. Now, as suspected, once it's been washed, this stuff's still stuck on there. Look at that. Can you see? That's no good, is it? I'm going to have to polish that stuff out now. Look, it's even worse up there. It's only had a couple of days of that stuff stuck on there, and this is what happens. But how easily will these polish clean? It's coming up. Just about. In case you didn't know, tree sap can ruin paintwork. So what do you think it can do to paint that's already ruined? Well, I would call that a success. The paintwork is now almost free of tree sap stains and now is back in its original position of merely ruined paint. Sometimes I display a kind of dogged determination that simply doesn't make any sense. Just trying it again now with a different set of leads. In fact, the leads out of Amy. And it's not making any difference, is it? Why would it? Why should it make any difference? I think that drying towel was a very good buy. Yes, I think it's a great idea after all. I've spent so long not buying one and just using a towel that I have knocking about. And to have the car just completely free of water without any streaks makes a huge difference on a car of this colour. So, yeah, that's a good buy. I like it. I'm happy. I would highly recommend that to anyone with a dark coloured car, especially if they'd regret buying it because of it being dark and showing the dirt. Because I was getting to that stage ever so slightly of thinking, oh gosh, I wish this was silver. No, it was not silver. Nah, definitely not silver. Maybe red. No, not red. Blue. Yeah. Or green. Talk about, the car is blue. But it's such a dark blue, it may as well be black, hadn't it?